Welcome to Putting the Real in Real Estate. I'm your host, Art Wood, your favorite mortgage guy on the planet. If you didn't know, just ask me. Got a good buddy of mine here, Charlie Gamble, and we're excited to hear we got a different take on real estate, I think, from you being fairly new. So welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Welcome to the jungle. He says that anything we want to talk about is game. So
right on.
We'll see if he lives to regret that. Charlie, tell us who you are, family, background, what got you into real estate?
Well, I have two daughters. They've flown the coop. They have moved on, and kind of been that middle part of my life. I've been in construction pretty much my whole life. I've been in real estate now full-time for almost 2 years, so it was a little bit of a transition to jump from that to this. It's I'm really enjoying it and finding that having that background's really helped.
Yeah, we've talked about it before because you've done well, and there's a lot of folks that say they got their real estate license 2 years ago and they still haven't closed their first sale or something like that. So what was it that the construction brought to that made you successful quickly?
Well, I don't know if it was just that. It's just a small aspect of it. Like I said, I've been in construction just about my whole life, and I've done just about every part of residential building that you can imagine, all the way from topographic images and laying out of properties, all the way foundations to roofing. So every bit of a house I've been through inside and out. But that helps a lot when it comes to inspections and trying to help people along with inspection reports and let them know that some items are maybe not so serious as they appear to be, which is always a fun adventure.
Yeah, well, I've got a inspector that I just love. I've known him 20 years, whatever. And he's inspected probably 15 properties for me. And I don't know that he's ever written up a report. We just walk the property. He's like, yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That's $100 fix. And I think from a first-time home buyer standpoint, I think the way your value comes in is being able to do that, because first-time home buyers are skittish.
Oh yeah,
they're like, we don't have GFI, we can't buy it.
Yeah,
that's a $500 fix.
Yeah, I just had one, and they didn't seem to think this was a big issue, but there was water stains in the crawl space where the water's been rising up, and it's about 4 inches on the block, and that's a huge issue. And you don't want that, because that can slowly deteriorate your floor structure, your plywood. And the house was only a couple years old, and they just, after we kind of noticed that, they wanted to terminate, because it's a serious issue that needs to be addressed, and we didn't get as far as to determining exactly what the issue was, but obviously groundwater's coming in.
What do you got to do? Encapsulate the space, or
no? It's probably gutter drains need to be extended out or piped out. More than likely, that's what it is. But it was on a very steep slope, so it was a tough lot to begin with to build on. So it was just something that was not properly addressed when they put the foundation in, and the problem still remains.
Well, my inspector, Rick Morris is his name. A lot of agents that I'm friends with use him. He's like, a lot of folks think that you don't need an inspection on a brand new house. It's like, you absolutely.
My gosh, yes. Yeah, I've seen some pretty bad inspections for brand new construction.
I know. It's like, I mean, anyway, it's like you hadn't had time to break. Well, they didn't put it together right in the first place. Yep. So why did you get out of construction?
I found a little niche with Dwelly, and I originally got licensed in 2000. I went to Keller Williams, and I was so excited, got my license, and went up to my first meeting, and this is going to be great. And then it was like, it's not a whole lot of help direction as far as lead generation, whatnot, and it just, at that time, it just didn't work for me, so I went back to work. Pitched the entire Keller Williams real estate agents at that time. Got some leads doing remodel jobs and work that way, and just kind of got my name out there, and my construction business really took off at that point, because I just moved to a new location, which was about Peachtree City.
Where'd you move from?
LaGrange. That just kind of took off, and didn't have time to really pursue real estate at that time, but the opportunity at Dwelly came along a couple of years ago. And they're now just got awarded the Zillow Partner of the Year award.
Wow!
So yeah, we do a lot of work with Zillow and Zillow Premier agents.
They're number one. Now is Dwelly just in Atlanta? or just in Georgia?
Yeah, they're just in Georgia, but they were the number one partner in the nation last year.
So what makes, so we've talked on this podcast before about leads versus referrals, and and we talk about leads are faster to get you, that's a good way to start a career, but the referrals are the way to finish a career, to establish a career. But what is working with leads like for the folks listening, for the agents listening, or whatever? What's working with leads like?
It takes a lot of patience. There's a lot of weeding through clients who have no idea about the home buying process, qualification, helping them determine if they're qualified or not. It's a lot of taking care of people and just guiding them along the process, and it's very time consuming, but it's worthwhile. It's to get, it helped me get started and helped me develop a good sphere of people that I can pull from that it's helping today, getting some clients today off of the previous sales. And
the value to a real estate agent or to a mortgage guy is their database, and as you continue to grow that, and stay in touch with folks, because I find a lot of agents don't stay in touch with their past clients. Say, hey, 70-80% say when you close them that if they ever buy a house again, they're going to call you, or for me too, and it's like, and then it ends up being 30%, that actually do that. What do you think is your, I have so many questions because I used to work leads. Mine were inbound call leads, so it's different. But what do you think your capture ratio is from the number of people that come in your sphere, whatever, in your pipe versus the ones that close? What do you think you're...
Right now I'm sitting right at 6-7%.
Okay. And then there's a process because I'm sure you have plenty of people that don't answer.
Oh, sure.
Wrong numbers.
You get everything.
Who's this again? I didn't put my name. I didn't put my information.
Yeah, I was trying to get a hold of the listing agent.
Right.
Yeah, you get everything. It's never boring, that's for sure.
And then how many of them are sold on that first couple of calls versus 3 months down the road? Are you still following?
Oh, yes. I've seen clients come back. I've seen people who've never responded that maybe 6-8 months later, hey, I see this house. I want to come see it. And I was like, who are you again? Yeah. But the vital part of it is having a good CRM network or program. We use Follow Up Boss. And that if I didn't have that, I'd be lost.
Yeah.
That keeps everything organized. And you can see exactly when you talk to someone, what was said. And
when you're supposed to talk to them again.
Right.
Yeah.
And it keeps everything organized, and if that's the biggest tool I have.
Yeah, I will I'm not going to say his name, I'll throw a buddy of mine under the bus, but he just posted on Facebook, and he had a yellow legal pad, and he probably had, and he's younger than I am, and I'm old school, and I've done this for 21 years now, so for the most part, I don't have to call anybody, they call me. But we try to do birthday calls and texts and customer appreciation events and those type follow-ups. I wish I were better.
Yeah, I mean it's always a balance. I mean it's tough to put energy into that when you've got 10 new clients that are trying to pursue a home, and it's a team effort. And it takes some good people around you to make everything work.
Who are those people around you? What does your team look like?
We've got some good office staff that is just amazing. They're there anytime you need them, answer questions, help out with, coming up with whether it's mailers or flyers or online digital things to keep in touch with past clients or new clients. But other than that, that's about it. I really don't have anybody personally working with me. Okay. But it's just the office staff that we have.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. And the last one is at some point, maybe it wasn't on the podcast even. I was talking about this with an agent. Was you get so busy at a certain time, a certain level, and that's what caps you out. And the only way really to go up is to hire that somebody else, so then they can free you up to do other things. Because TR has been a blessing for me. TR's on the other side of the camera. We got to bring you on, TR, sometime. We'll interview her. But it is a real blessing to actually know I'm going out of town tomorrow, and knowing I'll look at my phone and if anything's blowing up, but otherwise I just know it's handled.
There you go.
And that's a blessing.
Yeah,
I know when I first met you, we're sitting there and you're like, I'm always on this phone. I'm always on, texting, whatever, 10 o'clock at night, whatever it is.
That's the other thing. I mean, you're on call 24/7, Zillow leads, and that can get overwhelming. But it kind of fits where I'm at in life right now. My kids have flown the nest, and I don't have a whole lot of other.
Like, what else are you gonna do, right?
That's right. That's right. Get prepared for the next phase of life. So
that's how old are your girls?
22 and 24.
I don't know that I can't wait or not. My daughter's 15 and my son's 17. And it seems like we have World War III about once a week.
Oh, yeah.
So,
you're in that fun stage.
If you had any of those. So what was the biggest shocker? I mean, you came from one industry that I imagine was diametrically different.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, most folks that think y'all are glorified taxi drivers, and you just go open the doors and that's it. So what surprised you with how hard it would be?
I guess the biggest surprise to me, it makes sense now that I've been in it, but is how emotional this business is and how much pressure is on a buyer or a seller even, because this is 90% of the people that their home is the biggest investment in their entire life.
Yep.
Whether you're buying or selling. And it makes sense, but there's a whole lot of emotion tied up in that. And realtors are stuck right in the middle of that.
Yep.
And I was not expecting so much. But it's been a...
You don't think in contrast, because I would imagine if you were doing basements and kitchens and all that stuff, you don't run into the same emotion about...
No, not to this degree. No,
right.
No, not to the point where people will just shut down. And you probably see this a lot. You get people come in, want to get their application processed, and they learn that, oh my gosh, I'm 3, 6, 12 months away from being able to do anything. And having to explain that and give them hope and let them know that
there's a path.
There's definitely a path.
Yeah, there's a path.
This is way more common than you think. Don't take this personally, but the requirements to purchase a home have changed, and they're very stringent.
Well, the hardest thing right now is people come in and say, I don't want more than $1,500 payment.
Right. Well,
I hope you put down a lot of money.
Those days are over. Holy moly, yeah.
It's hard, but I'm glad you brought that up, because I always say, from my side anyway, the way I ended up getting my house was kind of that way on the realtor side. I want people to come to me as early as humanly possible, because if there is, hey, you need more money, or you need to repair credit, or you've only been working this hourly job for 3 months, you need 6 months or whatever. One of the hardest times, it's the only time I think I've really gotten fired by a real estate agent. And I would stand by it and do it again and again and again. Her clients called me and they weren't able to get pre-qualified. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, what you really need to do is take some time. They had some money, pay off these debts, whatever, and then come back to me. They couldn't qualify, period. And the agent called me, you know how long it took me to get their house under contract? I was like, but they're not ready. Well, you should have told them they needed to go rent somewhere. No, I'm going, you should cancel the contract on your house. And it was something about, I remember they also said that they could put a little bit, they were told they could put $20,000 in their property and it would make another 50 or whatever it was. And I'm like, you're just not ready yet. And so, the absolute worst time is to say, hey, by the way, I got a house under contract. Do I qualify?
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, I see that all the time. I think people, they think their first job is to locate a house that they want to buy and then see if they can qualify. That's so very, very common. And, it's just human nature, I guess. First start to get the urge, hey, I want to buy a house. Let's take a look and see what's available. And, but that's a tough conversation to have.
It was.
When they find a house, especially that they love, and then they seek qualification and find out that they have a few things to take care of or some time to remedy a few things.
Yeah, and the other reason he said, by the way, off script, that he said that he moved to real estate is because he's too damn old to be.
Yeah, I'm getting old. I did all my own work, and I did it all. Electrical, plumbing, tile, everything. So it's taxing on the body. Looking for something that's a little more I can endure a little longer,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, and you know, somebody, I always talk about when I'm going to retire or whatever, and I was like, well, I'm going to Europe twice this year. One is actually a trip. Luminate Bank is sending us on. I'm going to the beach for a week. This is kind of, I feel what retirement looks like. I just work, hard.
That's right.
75% of the time.
Yeah. I relate. I don't know if I ever want to stop working, whether it's for money or it's got to do something. You got to stay moving.
That's true. But yeah, getting old is both a blessing and a curse.
That's it.
What do you think is the best part about being a real estate agent?
Oh, by far, just helping that young family or first-time home buyer, achieve their dream of home ownership. I mean, it's probably the number one answer, but I mean, it's true. I mean, when you're able to help and guide someone through this process and it's successful with them, and there's nothing like that.
I agree. I was told this story a couple of times in the last week. I had where I used to live in Tucker, there was a girl that would walk up and down the street, and she was, special needs. I mean, still, what's the word I'm looking for? Not major special needs. So all of a sudden, I get a phone call a couple of months ago. Her mom and her stepdad wanted to buy her house. And at this point, she's not a girl anymore. This was 15, 20 years ago, and she's a woman. And they wanted to buy her house. I was so excited to get to work with that because normally they'd say, "Oh, we have to buy it as an investment property because we're not living there." I was like, "No, actually, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have a guideline that says if you have a disabled special needs child, you can buy them a house and have primary residence rates, primary residence down payments, all that stuff." And it works flip side if you wanted to buy your parents something so you can't. Now it's going to be all about me for 10 seconds.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
This is
so
good information.
Yeah, a parent can't buy a child a house just because they can't afford it, but a child can buy a parent a house just because they can't afford it. So you have an aging parent, they can't afford to move to be near you or whatever. The child can buy them a house, but in order for the parent to buy the child a house, they have to be special needs or disabled or whatever. So it was so great. Margaret was her name, and she came to closing, and it was just wonderful to see how excited she was. Oh. And so when you get to closing, I've had people, first-time buyers and their families. I'm a big hugger. I go to all my closings, and they come over and hug me and start crying.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
I mean, that's what it's all about, helping each other get through this journey of life.
That's right.
That's a big moment.
Especially when you're the first. I mean, if it's...
Yeah, especially if you've been, in a position where you've been renting your entire life, and, you finally have something that you can feel like is...
your own.
Your own.
Call your own.
Not just a payment, it's actually an investment.
Have you ever done on your own rental properties or anything?
I did about 15 years ago, back when I was still married.
Well,
yeah, different podcast.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I had about 3, and I enjoyed it. Did really well with them. That's kind of the position I'm trying to get back in now, is get a retirement portfolio and coast me hopefully to the finish line. Yeah.
How about flips? Ever done flips?
No, not so big into flips. I'm more of a buy and hold kind of guy.
Okay.
Just that makes more sense to me.
I just wish, so I've done some rental properties and I've done some flips. And really, I don't set out for either one. Whatever they come to me, and I'm like, all right, that'd be a good flip, or that would be a good hold. Yeah. But I always wish that I had your skill set, because I would have been a way better landlord. I'd have made way more money in flipping. Because you don't have to go pay a GC an extra 20, 30%.
It's those little handyman trips that'll wear you out.
Yes, they will.
That's I'd enjoy that stuff. Little things are no big deal. So.
Well, I've only had to evict 2 people, but that was brutal.
Those are not fun. I had one back in the day that was very tough.
Yeah, that was brutal. So tell me a horror story that you've experienced in real estate. The brief 2 years. What's a horror story?
It was last year with the government shutdown. It was a loan with the USAA, which I've learned is scaling way back on what
heard.
they're doing, to the point where I'm not even sure they're going to be doing lending anymore. But it was, we got a Tidewater appraisal. It came in.
Explain what Tidewater means.
The appraisal basically came in low, and in this case, it was very, very, very low.
On a VA, by the way. Tidewater only exists on VA.
Yeah, VA loan. Then we started the process of submitting comps and going through the Tidewater appeal. And then the government shutdown happened, and it was like everybody at USA just went home. Nobody would pick up the phone. Nobody would answer emails, and the contract just expired because we couldn't get a hold of who we needed to get a hold of and make determinations. I tried to convince the buyer, which was my client, to let's talk with another lender. Let's get this. And she was, bless her heart, she was so proud and dead set on using USAA for the
even
benefits.
though nobody was answering.
Right. That frustration and anger turned toward me, and she fired me. I was like, well, I understand your position, but it's a tough one, and just have to learn and keep pushing forward.
Do you find, because when you talked about emotional on the real estate side, we talked about it on numerous of the podcasts so far, the emotional impact, things like that, being fired takes on you, watching your friends close with somebody else or whatever, and you're just like, kill me now, No,
it's all good. Everybody knows a realtor. All realtors are not the same.
That's true.
I urge everybody to find one that's full-time. If they're not full-time, you know how it is working with agents who are half-time or part-time. It's difficult.
Yeah, I actually just had that conversation with a buyer the other day, and I realized that I was stepping on toes. I was like, all right, I'll quit stepping on toes. Probably should be full-time. Yeah, so that's tough, and I'll tell you, I can't remember if I told you the story the other day, but I had a client that had been a USAA client for 35 years, and the real estate agent says, you really need to call Art, USA or whatever. So I can't remember. I guess that I was able to match the numbers. The numbers were close or whatever, and he relented and loved working with me. But he could not figure out how to scan and email documents. And I just kept giggling because he would come by my office 3 times a week at least to drop off something. I'm going, how in the world would he have done business with USAA?
Yeah,
there'd have been no way that would happen. So we're coming close to the end, but I like to normally ask a couple of just off the if it's not construction and it wasn't real estate, what would you be doing? Because I'm not going to allow you to go back to construction because you've been there, done that.
I have no idea. Maybe lead singer of a rock band.
No way, man.
I hear. That's always been my dream, but I don't know if the talent is there or not. But
that is awesome. I had no earthly idea.
No, that'd be.
Have you ever sung before?
No, never. Just in the shower on 285,
Anybody could sing better than half the rock singers out there.
I had no idea what I would be doing, actually. I've been in construction since high school. And that's all I've really ever done.
It's something gratifying. They say, I couldn't change a light bulb, and the creation of something, whether or fixing creation of something. I'll have to take your word for it. But no, the funny thing is because I would absolutely be a rock star.
I hear you are.
I'm a wannabe rock star, and that's why they. Oh, by the way, you like this?
I asked her, where did you get that?
So it's a friend of mine, Ellen Rogers, made this.
Yeah, it's some radiator parts.
Yeah, this is from an HVAC system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And this looks like some piano.
I don't know. But eventually, I'm sitting there thinking. So the intro to the podcast we were going to do, which is really funny, and we may throw it in every now and then. It has me jamming on a stage to a song that I recorded 20 years ago. Great song, by the way. Yeah. And then I jump off the stage and fall through the clouds and into my office seat and where my quarters. But yes, that would absolutely be what I do. And I think I just became. I just admired all those 80s rock singers. Yeah. I just loved Motley Crue and stuff.
Oh, it was definitely an awesome time in music.
It was. All right, last one off topic, sort of off topic. What's your superpower?
Oh, my.
He said I could ask anything.
That's right. I guess just being able to relate and talk to a multitude of people. I guess that's. I'm really not uncomfortable with anyone. I can.
From the time I've known you, I would say just easygoing, non-judgmental. Just salt of the earth, which is great. Humble. And I think when people see that, I think you put them at ease, and from a sales perspective, and that's hard to convey sometimes over the phone.
You learn a lot about human nature in this business, and the more you learn, the more you realize we're all more the same than we are different.
100%. Somebody just posted on Facebook, and I was like, yeah, we all bleed red. We're all human beings.
That's right. That's right. Not much, in my mind, there's not much room for judgmental I've been there. Yep. At some point in my life, I've been where you are. And It doesn't matter who you are we all go through the same thing.
We all go well, I'm telling you, so that's part of the reason that I wanted to do this podcast was to show the general public how hard your job really is. But also for agents to look and say, I've been through that. I've been fired by a client before, or it really is hard. I just felt like on an island. I'm a big proponent of misery loves company, but it's not that. It's I think we as human beings feel on an island a lot, and don't think that anybody else could be feeling the same way we do, and to find out that they are.
That's right. In reality, there are a multitude of people on that same island.
That's right.
You just don't know.
That's right. We're gonna do a whole nother psychological podcast or something. But well, I really appreciate having you on. It's been a blast, and appreciate all you guys watching Putting the Real in Real Estate with Charlie Gamble and Art Wood, your favorite mortgage guy. So we'll see you next time. Take care.